live presentation of Steampunk, Eye Brotherhood. Hit it. The music.
Oh God. All right.
Later on featured for the music. I'm gonna turn it down. All right, the story. Okay, go on. No. Okay, it all starts in a village town. 4 bandits start arriving in with their guns, all on their bandanas. They come into the town looking for some money. Next one. By the name of Dirty Bob, the leader. Soon, he would find a saloon looking for some citizens to rob some money. One lone figure stands alone drinking his apple cider. He demands over to that figure, demands either your money or your life. But the figure says nothing. He just wants to enjoy a little apple cider. So he's going to shoot him, but instead the figure tosses the apple cider at him. There, Dirty Bob. Holding him with his own CQC, one of a soldier, he was able to take him down and later on take out the other soldiers. No problem, hands down. He later ties them up and says, mission accomplished. Alright, next one. Okay, the gameplay of this game is all about stealth, hack and slash, investigation, bounty hunting, whatsoever. The morale of this one? The morale here is leadership and teamwork. You got controls, heads-up display, flags, that's the important parts here, trust meter, key, that's for one of your teammates, and spells, that too. The power-ups and rewards, talk solving, that's the key of the game. Escaping whenever you get captured. There's no more. Oh yeah, lastly, game over. You don't want to get that. Okay, gaze upon the control setting. Each of them sets from PlayStation 3, the Wii, nunchuck, and remote. Not the Wii U. Don't want that. And the Xbox 360 controller. Top part is all your actions on how you do it on person, and the bottom here is on your command setting. Which of course features the weapon selection and the item cycle. Next, of course, there's commands over there. You also got how you can combine them together to form more actions. You can do, the next one is like riding on your own horse, known as lightning. Then you have driving, which is driving in a vehicle, next setting. Then you got swimming when you go underwater, because it's going to be an important mission. Then you got flying, which you're going to ride a flying machine. Next one. Alright, now this is how the game goes. Mastering the basics is easy, but the important part is that you can either capture or kill the criminals, which is ultimately important. There are a total of 100 wanted criminals. That's right, 100 wanted criminals, including the bosses themselves. Your only character, though, is the protagonist. You don't play as anyone else, just the protagonist. You need to master CQC, double targets, flags, leadership, and stealth combat. Next one. Now, the CQC here is like Metal Gear Solid, where you can actually hold down the enemy. However, though, this CQC will not feature of how you just hold them all the time. You can actually just use them to toss your enemy, you can hold them, then kick them forward, or you could just grapple them and start attacking while they're just trying to wrestle you. This works very well, including trying to hold down the gun. That way they can't fire. Then you got the double targeting. This new feature is not like any other game because this one features 2 targets, which is like a key sense. One, you'll have one on the enemy, and the other one's like a free one, which allows you to look left, right, and behind you while you're targeting the first enemy. And then there's the command setting, which is the D-pad up. You'll select one of your teammates, or you can select all of them around without looking at them. For example, if you were to target your teammate, you have to give them what he or she must do. If it's none of them, you have to give a direct command to what they must do. Next slide. Now, stealth combat is also important because you have to just sneak up crawling or just dash forward while crouching to come after your targets. This could come in handy too, because on a stealth mission, you can try and take out the guards as much as you want or sneak past them. However, if you're not in a stealth combat, it becomes a basic beat 'em up or hack and slash and a shoot 'em up. Next slide. Now this is what the heads-up display looks like. Each of these displays will be on your monitor of your screen. Somehow I forgot the radar, but that's okay. Okay, oh, right. This one little figure right here is your hit point bar. Even though it's not, it's a human-like. Only the arms, the legs are partly important because whenever you get attacked though, the indicator will show where you got hit. Same thing with where the indicator bar is. This little bottle here, this is your stamina bar. That acts as how long you can keep running or swimming or keep your grip on. Then you got the weapon box, which weapon of melee you're choosing, the firearm, such as the guns. You can select 2 guns, but it doesn't work for CQC. You have to use one gun as your right arm and the other one freely. Then this one right here is the item box, which item you're going to use, which is potions. This is where the commanding setting is going to be. This is also where the controllers might be. Right there is the enemy's health bar, which of course you have to either drain them down or try to get them to forfeit. Then right over here, that's like the trust meter. There are a total of 4 of them, but I'll get to that soon. This over here is your partner's side. You got emotions or their expressions and their health bar and stamina bar. And lastly, this one's the money meter, your currency. Next one. Now let's get to flags. Yes. This is the new game because you have 3 settings of flags. Leadership, you're important of the battle. All around, all your teammates are important. And VIP, the party member is important or any not fighting. Next slide. Now the trust meter plays a morale on system of how this game works though. While you're helping out fighting against bad guys, your partners are also important of how to cooperate with the AI, such as being a good person or just being a jackass. The good morale system is have 2 things, admiring and love. Admire is how popular you are. Love is how friendship you're being with the teammates. But in order to get good karma, you have to be of support of your teammates. Volunteering can also work for admiring, which is also important. But the bad morale, there are 2 of them. You're either a nuisance or you're a threat. And this is how you get bad karma. You can get dying too much over and over. Players can get annoyed. Hurting your teammates causes friendly fire, so you got to watch out for that. And not being protected to your teammates, though, they can get hurt in showing that you're a bad leader. And this also becomes annoying. If you steal one of your partner's kills, then they're going to get annoyed at you. Next slide. Keep an eye on that. 2 teammates of Key and Spell. Harrison is a monk, so he's the only one who can use Key. But it's not going to be the Dragon Ball Z kind. I can't rip that off. So you have to use the boost to power up your strength, your strikes, and he can recover. Yura is a sorcerer-like magician. She can only use alchemy and any element spells she wants. Trust me, I'm not ripping off Dungeons and Dragons. I'm just going to properly rip it off from Final Fantasy. That's okay with you guys. Next slide. Okay, now the power-ups here, they give you a boost to yourself and your teammates. It's also important, though, that you give some to your teammates, too. Currency is how much you want to spend money, though. That's also important because you want to actually use your currency to boost up your teammates for food. Food is actually for stamina, HP, strength, and so forth. Regular food just restores body, same thing with herbs. Recovered items can recover you from sickness because there are ailments in the game. And vitamins? Yes, another new feature. They'll give you enough boost power, but there's going to be a side effect, so you got to watch out for that. Next slide. Now, the card solving is actually one of the new key features of this game. Each of these have its own different system. Because the card solving, it's going to be in a new system where you have to try and solve puzzles, scramble them together, or just putting them in their rightful place. For example, if you see jigsaw puzzle, you got to put all the cards together. If it's lights on or off, the off one of these cards has to be like the main generator. While the other one, you just got to put them all together connectedly. Next slide. And that's what the picture looks like if there's an example. This one's from IGN.com. It's called Conk Puzzle. You heard of it? No? Okay, next slide. Now, escaping, pull up the next picture. Escaping is what happens when the player gets captured. Because he's in either behind bars, he's chained up, or he's just tied up. Your objective of this kind of puzzle is to get out. You're going to use various orders of how to actually get out of there and then make your escape. Don't just go frenzy over it or they'll just kill you. Next slide. Yep, this is what happens during the game over. Just one of them. Go on. The game over is whenever a player fails or just gets killed. Keep going. There are several of them. This only happens to leadership, all members, or VIP. If all the members or you or the VIP's HP drop to 0, it's a game over. For a mission fail, this only happens if you get killed or you can't complete your task. Because whenever it's a mission fail, you have to retry, but it's also your currency points are going to drop, knowing how much you spent. And for the capturing mission, for a mission fail like this or a game over, this happens if the bounty gets away or escapes the boundaries, which is a problem. Next slide. Now, let's get to know the protagonists and your recruiters, shall we? You play as Red Lou Helsing. Next one. And here he is, Red Lou Helsing. This protagonist character, keep going. He is actually a soldier. He's not like a gunfighter or any other specialty. He's just a soldier who knows a lot about CQC and weaponry and martial arts. Now, you need to pay attention, though, because sometimes the characters and the recruiters can get very fearful or actually get addictive. And there's also the side effects that can actually become a hazard to your battle. When you play as him, you keep him away from sweet foods. And whenever there's a fear effect, though, your hands will actually tremble, which means that your little crosshair will start shaking, which can be a hazard. Next slide. Now let's get to know the others. Harrison, he's a martial artist. He will be your monk expert, who will be your frontal soldier. Lilia Osborne, she's a gunslinger, but she's also a sniper, so get her to somewhere to hide, which can be a good advantage because you'll have a sniper player to perform sneak attacks. Make sure to keep Harrison away from, what is it, snakes? What's it? Yeah, keep him away from snakes. And her, keep her away from spiders. Because there are monsters who can actually be cybernetics and can actually scare your characters. Next slide. Then you got Lord Black Star. He's a elven. He's actually a gangster. He's using machine guns. He's like a thrasher kind. Keep him away from heights. Don't take him to missions that are like higher places, because he'll refuse to go, leaving your member recruiters short. Theo Alberto is actually an engineer. He's actually a no fighting person, but he'll have his robots do the job for you, which can be very useful sometimes. I forgot what his fear is, but he's actually very timid, so make sure to keep him away from the battle. Next slide. Then Dr. Hal McGoffin, he's also he's actually a doctor, a healing type person. He'll actually help you out as a support player in battle and heal your teammates. Just keep him away from germs. He is not a big fan of germs. Yura, what I mentioned, she is actually a magician. She'll make alchemy for you. She'll even actually perform up spells and magics to attack your enemies. The only thing she's actually addicted to is just robots. But she's actually more afraid of what's been hard because she's partly an android. Kind of weird. Next slide. Then you got Clary. She's actually an animal trainer. She'll have animals attack. So that way you don't have to worry about her being afraid or being attacked. Then you got General Ross Albon. Now stop right there. General right here, he's actually a hidden recruit. There are recruiters and there are hidden recruiters. Like Final Fantasy, you have to gather the hidden recruiters to help you out on your missions. Next slide. Which is why he's also important. Then you got El Señor Jarico Santos. He's actually the swashbuckler, the fencer himself. He's only attracted to girls. Keep him away from that. Then you got Callie Amelia. She's actually a country girl, she will actually perform music. I don't know if she's actually good or not, depending on their opinions, but if you have her out in the field and let her play music, she could actually draw the enemy's attention towards her and stop fighting, giving you the opportunity to attack. Next slide, because there's one more left hidden recruiter. Sir William Myers, he's actually a satyr. He's a bodyguard character who actually attacks only with his hooves. So he knows a lot about fighting sometimes, which is also important because you might need him to recruit on missions too. All 4 characters, there are requirements on how to unlock the hidden recruiters. So keep an eye out. Next slide. Now let's talk about the non-playable characters. Keep going. The non-playable characters play also important roles to the game. You got rivals. What's a bounty hunter without rivals? Families, important parts of the game. Sheriffs, mayors, and hillbillies. Let's talk about your rivals, shall we? Okay, go on. And you got the snake-eyed lizard folk who are lizard people. You got the wild riders who are actually human. Each of these rivals, though, they only go after the certain missions. They don't actually go after other types. They just want the bounties for what they always wanted. Other than money, they can go after like weapons or metal, kind of like a resource hunter. It's almost like trying to look for good trading cards at a store and you want them so bad. Or you're like a rare hunter. Next slide. Let's go look up some more. You got the Money Gun Gang. They're actually pig people, orcs for short. They're just greedy fat men. Goat Thrusters, they're satyrs. Looks like I forgot to put out who they are, but I'm sure you'll actually find out later in the game. They're actually more of the protective type. Now, here's a clue here. If you actually befriend the rivals, they'll share some extra winnings with you, but you won't get much profit from the wanted bounty. So you can team up with them, which can get you close to a good ending, or depending on how morale works with your leadership. Next slide. Then you got the Armstrong Crushers. They're dwarves. They act as Vikings. If you're very interested in these guys, they would actually be helping you out. Headhunters are the elves, not like Blackstar. They're actually more of the protective type. They can too be friendly of the team. Next slide. Then you got the Brown Beard crew. That's right, pirates. There are pirates in this game as enemies. And you got each of every one of them. There's a captain, Captain Brownbeard. He's actually the leader. Next slide. Now there are families who are important of the game. They'll actually give you clues to the past, which allows you to play detective. Next slide. The first side, you got Red's missing parents. She's fine, and he's somewhere else. Harrison's parents are unknown of what happened, but he wants to find out the truth. I'll tell him where. Maria Amelia, her only family is her sister, which is why these two were in a beauty pageant. Black's Elven gang, you got the boss and his thugs. Then you got Clarice's mother, who went missing, nowhere telling. Then you got Theo's boss. He's actually a bearded elf with a lot of muscles. He's actually kind of a roughneck, but still gentle to make sure Theo's okay. Next slide. Next, you got Ross's family, the general himself. Here's his family over here. He's got a wife, a daughter, and a son. He's very protected to his own family. Lily's family are actually unknown since she's getting captured by pirates, but has to find out where her parents are. Then you got William Pack, who's going to give him clues to his hidden past of why one of his own legs broken. Next slide. And you got the sheriffs. Sheriff Austin, Sheriff Theodore, and Sheriff Cotswold. They're actually each depending on how they actually behave, such as the good, the bad, and the greedy. Next slide. Then you got mayors. That's the important part of the game. You can get help from them of where your objective is supposed to be. If you get lost, they'll tell you where they're hiding at or where the location might be, because these mayors here would also post up bounties, and they need a lot of help. They can pay you good profits too. Next slide. Then you got hillbillies. Don't we all love hillbillies? There are only two hillbillies of the protagonist, of the two characters. There's the good and the bad. You got the McCoys and you got the Jeffreys. The ones who are actually more the friendlies are actually one of them, I can't tell, but however, you're going to have to take a gamble which one's nice and which one's naughty. Next slide. Now, upgrading is also important to the game because you got each of the attributes on your own missions. And each of the characters, though, they will actually buffer you up. Let me tell you something. Once you get the base, it's important to save your game. As there's no telling what's going to happen if you didn't save your game. Now, next slide. Let's get to know what the upgrade and the crafting are. Now, how does it work? One. Now, for weaponry, Red's job is to actually improve, upgrade, or build weapons, firearms, explosives, and gadgets. He's like the blacksmith of the team. Next one, you got armor. Callie's the one who can make clothes, such as these, the ones I've made beautifully. Well, actually, I bought them from the store. She'll make a light, mystic, medium, heavy, and other. Others can be disguises. Next one. Then you got accessories. Lily can make accessories to help you proof better during battle, like improve your defense, give you a resistance, or like a powerful resistance to protect yourself. Next one. You know, in order to actually get some of them, you need Harrison on the team, which he can build carpentry to actually build up the others. And Harrison can also build important objects and vehicles, which can be a good thing. Next one. Now, food and drink, only Black Lord Doom, sorry, this was something else. Black Doom and Hardy can make food and drinks, which can actually boost up your teammates. Now, the medic here is Dr. Hal. He can make medicines to cure poison and disease and paralysis. There are a lot of ailments here. He can also make you like good items to make sure that you can be ready in battle. Yura is the only one who can make ailments and boost. Since then, her potions are disgusting. Same thing with Hal's. Wouldn't even need that, are you? And Clary, she can actually have all the animals, 3 of them, to become trained. Lightning was the horse, Sammy's her dog, and Fu is actually the hawk. Each of the animals have their own traits of important parts in the battle. Next one. And lastly, Theo can actually make robots that will be built, repaired, scrap, upgrade, and program. In order to actually get the robots, you have to either capture them or knock them out. But wanted androids and boss cyborgs don't count. So you can't capture them. Master them well, and you won't have any problems. Next slide. Let's get to know the enemies, shall we? Enemies are hazards to the player, whether it's capturing a criminal or going on a mission. These guys will stop you in your path to either block or just try to kill you. Keep going. Now, let's talk about the humanoids. There are humans, goblins, lizards, orcs, drow, and pirates. Just know that the humans are robbers and bandits, while the pirates are more of the thievery type. They act different from each other, though. But you can tell what they look like just by looking at them when their bandanas come off. For example, if you look at the lizards, though, they have sharp claws, they have dragon's nose, and dragon eyes. Next one. Now, this one's the cybernetics. You see this little picture up here? That's actually a cyber coyote. The cyborgs, though, they're just robotic. They're a lot more stronger to actually trying to attack them. And then whenever they get buffered up, they're just actually wearing different metal. For example, Velociraptor. These guys are a threat, but their only weakness is that they need to be out in the sun. Same thing with lizards. They have to be out in the sun, too. Sometimes, though, the cyborgs need important parts, like getting a power energy, solar power, or even wind power to keep moving. If not, they're just going to be dropping down, waiting to rust. Next one. Keeping going on, though, there's still a lot more to cover. The buzzards? Why feature buzzards? They're not much of an enemy, but it's important that you better take them out, because they'll mistake one of your knockout recruiters as a dead character. Next slide. Now, the undead is actually a hazard to the game. They'll just come rising up from the ground and come attack your teammates. I'm sure zombies are slow, but what about a werewolf? Would you be afraid to take him on? I don't think so. He's pretty easy to fight. He'll be just like one of those little wolves from Legend of Zelda. Next slide. Now, the wanted criminals. Bring it up. There'll be a wanted poster board onto your base, which all the petitions will actually write down and tell you what to go after. Like I said, 100 criminals. Next one. Now, gaze upon each of the list of the wanted criminals. Yep, like I said, 100 criminals. Keep going. Because each of the wanted criminals here, they have one key. They have one important key here. Requirements. That's right. Each of these wanted criminals are requirements to go after the main bosses who are also wanted. And if you manage to lose some of them, you can get a retry to go after them, or they're going to actually get away with it. For example, right here, the Gatling Ogre. I know he's from the Yu-Gi-Oh, but come on, I love Konami so much. He's actually more dangerous. He'll actually have a Gatling gun that'll come after you. Keep going. Wait, I'll tell you this now. Go on. Which is why, right here, the Mr. and Mrs. of Hearts, they actually work as a team. So this is going to be a very annoying mission. They get from easy to hard. Easy to hard. Everyone say it with me. Easy to hard. All right. Now to the elements. Go on. Right here. Now, these are actually animal-based, such as like the Rex, the snake, and the bull. But however, their bodies are covered with something else of elements. Pterosaurus Rex is an earth monster. He's actually found underground, but he can't advance unless there's somewhere earthly he can connect to. Keep going. Which is why these animals are actually going to be hard to kill. They have weaknesses, you just got to kill them. Go on. So forth though, each of these monsters are actually have like easy to hard mode, just like the one of criminals. One more, which is why the awesome feature is him. The Iron Dragon.
That's right.
Alright, next one. Then you got cyborgs and androids. 20 cyborgs, 12 androids. The androids have the exact same acts and lookalikes as your recruiters and your protagonists, which is why they have requirement keys to going up against the boss. And cyborgs, they might be actually huge to fight against, so it's important to try and either disable them or take them down. It all depends on you. Next. Now, this last one for these sub-wanted bosses are demons. They are actually horrified enemies to the petitions. And you want to take them down because they are also important keys to the game. Often to mention that each of them have like their wanted charges or how they were charged. So it's important to keep an eye on what they're up to. Next one. Now we got the original bosses. Each and every boss here has a requirement, which is right over here. Some of these bosses will act like advanced or sometimes easy. But however, though, it's important to think of a good strategy before you fight against them. Next one. Because each of these bosses right over here, though, they'll be getting harder and harder by the minute. And they'll do anything to take down the Brotherhood since they know what we're up against. For this guy right over here, Direct Dictator Strike Nagad. He's a Russian soldier. And he's an antagonist right here. Next slide. Which is why it leads to the next part. Van Helsing's favorite enemy and arch nemesis, Count Dracula. Next slide. Now for the final boss. One more. He is Hadin. Hadin is the last boss you'll be facing against. He is the final boss. During the first round when you face him, it's just 2 rounds. But when you face him again, he becomes tougher, leading to his final form. To get him, you have to meet his requirements. Which is why it's going to get a lot harder to fight against Paragon Hadin, because he's a deal maker. And he'll make your living nightmare come true. Next slide. Now, let's get to know multiplayer. That's right, multiplayer of this game. Multiplayer can be played on or offline. Each of these right over here are determined what we can play. You can play against your friends, you can even play against the computers and team up. You can select any of these. Recognize this one? Juggernaut and Dark Matter. They came from Next Class, and the Juggernaut came from Halo. Which is, of course, this is just like a simple, you become powerful, you have to take out your teams, and one of them has to take you out so they can get the next power. And capture the flag is basic as always, but the bounty hunter mission is pretty cool. You should guys enjoy that. Next one. And we get to the last part, the ending. There are 3 endings depending on your morale system. It depends on wanted criminals, it depends on the bosses, and it depends on your recruiters. If you don't have enough bounties, you get a bad ending. If there's not enough bounties, or perhaps not enough recruiters, but you still capture them anyway, you can get a good ending. And to get a true ending, all the bounties must be captured or killed, and you get all the recruited members. Which is why we get to the final ending. In a surprise way, Red knows that he's actually a demon, but he's trying to get his father back. His father comes back, Hadin is gone, and he lives his peace as a human. And as for Red, he just runs off to the sunset looking for the next bounty he's looking for. And that's all it. The next one is questions. Paul.
Yes.
Now, any questions about my game?
Yeah, I have a lot of...
David, calm down.
Oh, hold on. That's why I was going to say.
And then do questions and then clap again.
Yeah.
Oh, my bad.
Yes.
What do they do?
The average
completion time for a user to complete the game, or
The average of
a
bounties?
campaign, hours, I don't know.
The hours, I believe, will take like about either a week to actually beat the game if you're actually pretty good. But it'll take even longer, like up to perhaps like 2 weeks if you're actually a beginner of the game. It doesn't have an easy, hard, or normal setting.
Good.
Next question. I just feel as though I've answered everyone's questions.
Yeah.
Yes.
What's the artistic tone of the game? Is it realistic or comical, or is it?
It's comical. Apparently this is a comic mischief. The funniest one of them all would actually be breaking the fourth wall, because it has a lot of gags in it. Especially if the characters would have like cartoon face faults. For example, you would actually look at the Pterosaurus Rex, the character looks at it frightened, and all his body pieces fall apart. Next question? Yes?
I wasn't here in the beginning. What type of platform are you looking at?
Oh yeah, the platform is action, stealth.
Genre.
It's almost like Skyrim.
No, the platform,
We meant the
like
gaming
console,
platform, the system.
Xbox.
Oh yeah, it's only PlayStation 3, Wii, and Xbox 360.
Console.
My target audience is actually the teenagers who are big fans of anime, steampunk, stealth, and of course a lot of bounty hunting missions. Any other questions?
Well, I feel like there's too many different characters for pulling from too many different things. For me, it would be like you were talking about a huge AAA production of this one like this off. So I'm just trying to figure out how you introduce all these characters into the story, and still try to hold the gameplay together as well. So like for instance, you have just about everything from different categories. Like you've got dinosaurs, you've got
Werewolf.
demons, werewolves,
Vampires.
yeah.
Good question. They'll be having like their own timeline story where to place this one and then place the next one. However, though, if the enemies you can't capture escapes, or you can't seem to go after them while beating the boss, there is either a good chance to go after them, or there won't be until the very end.
What was that movie?
Alice in
It's
Wonderland.
kind of a western, but it had like had a snake in it. It had, what's that?
Like Wild Wild West?
No, there wasn't a snake.
No, it was an animated film.
It's an animated film. Western with the snake.
With
Rango.
Rango.
Yeah.
Let me look that up.
Oh, Rango?
Johnny Depp.
Yeah,
Johnny Depp
was the voice.
Rango.
Yeah. Now, whenever you started talking to me about, or telling us about this world, I was initially thinking, you know, small town,
This is a game?
kind of
No, it's a
Yeah.
movie.
This is
small
hard
town kind
difficulty.
of setting.
It's a game too.
But then, once you started talking about, you know, Dracula and
Yeah.
all these other characters, I'm thinking,
I'm
okay,
Still trying to wrap
where are you
around.
going to introduce these characters in this world?
Iron Dragons.
It's like there's a time machine.
I mean, it could,
No,
it
it's
could
just
definitely be
inherent.
pulled off. I'm just visually in my head, I'm trying to figure out where.
Dracula in desert.
This is Rango game.
Kind of take place in desert areas. Dracula in desert just it doesn't work.
Apparently that's because though that it's cyber.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Huh?
This is
Yeah, I didn't either. That's interesting.
I mean, there actually is a Rango game.
I think the really important part, and this is just listening to the way you talk about it, I mean, you're clearly very passionate about this universe that you have, that you've created these characters. You need to, you have all the characters, you have that there. You need to, like, weave them together now. Connect those characters, like, not, why are they wanted? Like, how is that introduced? Are you literally just going up to the board and taking a wanted mission, and then you go out on a mission, and, like, how is that all initiated in the game? Because you have all this huge world there, and they just need to connect, you know. But I mean, it's definitely there. It's creative. I mean, if you want to put Dracula in the desert, that's awesome. I mean, but you just have to explain why it's Dracula in the desert.
right. That was kind of what I was.
I get it. Off topic.
Alright.
See, Dracula is actually. Oh yeah, you already know that he's the arch enemy of Red Helsing. Apparently, Dracula.
Keep
for
it in
this
your
kind of
pants,
game,
David.
He's actually wanted because he hides in the dark a lot. And he knows that there's a sheriff in town. He wants to fight him.
Right.
I was thinking more along the lines of Dishonored with your steampunk kind of like
Yeah.
sneaking combat. Did you say what the combat was like in this game? If it's like turn-based or if it's...
It's not turn-based. It's a real-time strategy.
It's an RTS?
It's an RTS.
No, I think action.
Without
Like-
actually just pushing buttons one by one, you're just still moving around.
Wait, I think
You mean it's more like a third-person
Is it...
shooter, or?
Yeah, I know. I'm really confused.
Yeah, me too.
You didn't mean an RTS, I don't think.
Do you mean like a
Which is like Command and Conquer or
It's it's kind of a deceiving
I
term.
mean an isometric game, right?
You do?
You mean a game like Skyrim?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Then that's not.
That would be more like
That's not
action
an RTS,
adventure.
Um,
RTS is kind of a deceiving name for the genre.
I
yeah.
remember
You
when
don't
I
know.
played Mass
Well, yeah.
Effect, you could combine different characters' abilities, like the psionic abilities and tech abilities, and then just straight up blasting abilities in various.
You could have a time machine.
It'd be devastating.
That explains everything, you know? That's why
But
there's...
that
Actually, there is a time machine
strategy.
game. That's why it's called Steampunk.
Okay. Time machines, I think of Steam.
A little.
I'm just trying to get to start to see the actual town. So
Yeah, there's shots of it. That's one of the things I loved about Rango was like the realistic take on the townsfolk in the town.
right.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, there we go.
It's making art.
Just Google Rango Town.
What are you
and
doing in
the first
Photoshop?
image.
I don't remember.
You're just doing texture?
Town of the
Yeah.
village? Yeah, that's just like
For
the
what?
town. That's just the start of
3D
the game.
modeling.
So you wanted this thing just flipped that way? Did it have to be in the top left? Or did you want it in the
So
top right?
Van Helsing's in the game too?
Not, not Van Helsing, but similar.
Alright, I just realized, how come we're actually talking about Rango where we're just running low on time?
Oh no, your
Well,
time's
I'm
fine.
sorry. I got caught up.
You could type in town, I think. I think
It's
town.
a town.
trying to get you to illustrate to us, you know, what, how
God damn it, David.
interaction's gonna be with the characters in this. I was
Let's
wondering
like
if
calm
it's
down.
gonna, have,
I've already created history, don't worry.
feel to it. Is
No,
it going
you
to
would have had a YouTube video sensation.
that was kind of
Yeah, that would be worse.
If you make it
Let's say,
cyberpunk
calm
instead of
down.
steampunk, then I can
You
totally
guys are both
see
wearing
it.
hats.
Just saying.
Steampunk and cyberpunk are the same.
Not.
Let's not argue that.
Let's not get our punks confused.
Yeah, David, go being a punk.
Does anybody have any other questions?
Nah.
I just made everyone as clueless as ever.
No, not really.
And the rating would be teen, right? Because
Yeah.
you wanted teenagers to play the game?
Yeah,
So-
and anime fans.
So it's not too violent.
It's not too violent.
Okay.
No, I think it's a great idea. Like I think it has a lot of really cool things about it, especially the fact that you know a lot of the characters have, excuse me, specific you know strengths and weaknesses and things like that. I think that's a really cool feature.
Yeah.
And then having different
Let's not make them cry to people.
you know strengths that people on your team have as well. I think that's a really I love team-based games. So
Yeah.
and then also utilize those free characters to do different things. That's
Dishonor.
And any drawbacks? Just not connected.
Yeah.
yeah, I just didn't understand how you know we pull all these characters, robots, and the demon characters and things like that.
Just put them in a room.
Into the world that we have.
I'll make that game. No one would ask. Well, we don't know. This is all. What was that game that just came out that was like it was an MMO RPG and it was online?
Oh yes, Steampunk RPG. It was on Facebook.
Never mind.
Very good.
Yeah.
Good job. Haven't you figured it out yet?
I did a bad thing, Colin.
Oh. Who did you touch this time?
I painted over a window. Wait, cancel.